Welcome back investors to a new and interesting video. In today's video, we are looking at a company that may not look flashy at first glance, but the numbers immediately make it interesting. It is completely debt-free and sits on a cash balance of over 774 crore rupees. What makes this story even more interesting is the journey behind it. This company started out in a commoditized packaging films business that faced heavy competition. But over time, it moved into a much higher value product category, scaled the business, and quietly turned itself around. That shift did not just improve the business model, it also allowed the company to generate superior margins compared to its competitors. And now it is entering its next growth leg. The company has announced a 500 crore rupees Capex plan focused largely on expanding its value-added business and strengthening backward integration. In simple terms, this means the company is working to increase its revenue potential while also taking a proactive step toward better margin management. Over the next decade, some of the world's biggest industries, automobiles, electric vehicles, commercial real estate, renewable energy, electronics, and premium packaging, are all moving in one direction. They need smarter, stronger, and more technologically advanced materials. As vehicles become more expensive, people are spending more to protect them rather than repair them. Buildings are using larger glass facades, electricity costs are rising, and energy efficiency regulations are becoming stricter. Put all of that together and one industry starts standing out quietly in the background: specialty performance films. These ultra-thin engineered films are almost invisible, yet they play a critical role in protecting vehicle paint, reducing cabin temperatures, improving building energy efficiency, insulating electrical equipment, and enabling high-performance industrial applications. The opportunity is huge, but manufacturing these films is not easy. It requires advanced material science, precision coating technologies, years of R&D, and highly specialized manufacturing capabilities. That is why only a handful of companies globally have built the expertise needed to compete in this space. Before we understand the company, let's first understand the industry it operates in. Every valuable asset needs protection. A soldier wears armor in battle, a smartphone uses a screen protector to avoid scratches. A house uses waterproof coatings to protect its walls from rain and moisture. Food is sealed inside protective packaging so it stays fresh until it reaches consumers. The protection itself is not the product, but without it, the product does not last. The same logic applies to modern vehicles, buildings, industrial equipment, and electronic products. As these assets become more expensive and more advanced, protecting them becomes just as important as manufacturing them. That is where specialty films come in. These are ultra-thin engineered materials that act like invisible armor, protecting surfaces, improving performance, reducing energy consumption, and extending the life of valuable assets without changing their appearance. But just like armor is different for different threats, each specialty film solves a different problem. Window films are the first obvious use case. Glass allows light in, but it also brings heat, UV rays, and glare. Window films act like a heat shield, selectively blocking unwanted solar radiation while letting visible light pass through. That means cooler cabins, lower air conditioning load, and better comfort. Paint protection films, or PPF, are a different kind of armor. A vehicle's paint is constantly exposed to stone chips, scratches, road debris, chemicals, and harsh weather. PPF acts like a transparent shield, taking the damage so the paint does not. That helps preserve the original finish and the resale value. Architectural films are equally important. Modern buildings use larger glass facades, which look great but also trap heat and increase cooling costs. Architectural films work like an energy shield, reducing solar heat gain, blocking harmful UV rays, improving privacy, strengthening glass, and lowering cooling costs without replacing the existing glass. And specialty BOPET films are the invisible workhorse. They are used inside electrical equipment, electronics, packaging, renewable energy systems, and industrial machinery, where they improve insulation, barrier performance, durability, and reliability. Now, the reason this industry is becoming more important is that the end markets these products serve are all growing at the same time. Vehicles are getting more expensive, so owners are willing to spend more on protection rather than repair. EVs create an additional opportunity because battery-powered vehicles need every watt saved, and films that reduce cabin heat help lower air conditioning load and improve battery efficiency, while insulation films are increasingly used inside electric motors and battery systems. Climate change is adding another layer because longer summers and rising temperatures are pushing up cooling demand in both vehicles and buildings. Rising electricity costs are making energy efficiency not just an environmental preference but an economic necessity. Urbanization is also helping because modern cities are full of glass-clad offices, malls, airports, and commercial buildings that trap heat. On top of that, factories in electronics, renewable energy, electrical equipment, and advanced manufacturing need high-performance films for insulation, moisture protection, heat resistance, resistance and barrier properties. So this is a rare situation where the end industries themselves are growing and their growth is directly pulling demand for the same technology across multiple applications. Now that we understand the opportunity, let's look at the company that is trying to capitalize on it. The company I am talking about is Garware High-Tech Films, developing high-performance films used across automobiles, buildings, industrial manufacturing, packaging, electrical equipment, and electronics. The company started as a polyester film manufacturer, but over the last 2 decades, it has systematically transformed itself from a commodity film producer into a technology-driven specialty materials company. So instead of competing on scale and low prices, the company has focused on differentiated products, advanced coating technologies, material science, and continuous innovation. Today, its products are sold in more than 90 countries. In simple terms, Garware is no longer just a polyester film company. It is a specialty materials company sitting at the intersection of advanced manufacturing and global megatrends. Garware operates through 2 complementary business divisions. The Consumer Products Division, CPD, contributes around 71% of revenue and is the company's primary growth and profitability engine. This division focuses on premium films used in automobiles and buildings, including window films, paint protection films, architectural films, and other value-added consumer solutions. These products are sold through a global network of distributors, dealers, certified installers, and OEM partnerships. Since customers choose them based on performance, durability, and brand reputation rather than price alone, the business enjoys strong pricing power and significantly higher margins. The Industrial Products Division, or IPD, contributes the remaining 29% of revenue and manufactures specialty BOPET films for industrial applications. These are supplied mainly to OEMs and industrial customers across packaging, electrical insulation, electronics, renewable energy, and manufacturing. Industrial customers care about consistency, technical performance, and long-term reliability, so the relationships tend to be sticky. So to summarize, CPD is the profit engine, while the IPD gives diversification, scale, and exposure to multiple high-growth industrial sectors. Before we move ahead, a quick mention. And yeah, investors, we also find these small cap and micro cap and SME opportunities at an early stage through our research services, Emerging Titans and Tiny Titans. Emerging Titans is mainly built for main board, small and mid-cap companies, while Tiny Titans focuses purely on SME-listed stocks. Across both services, you will receive detailed research reports, entry and exit strategies, allocation guidance, and regular updates. So if you want to be a part of our research community, you can visit valueeducator.com or check the link in the description. We follow our sprint framework to discover such niche stocks with strong potential. So if you haven't subscribed to our services, please do check out the details. Now let's get back to our video. People hear window films, they immediately think of cars. But this business goes far beyond automobiles. Take modern commercial buildings as an example. Today's offices, hotels, airports, hospitals, and residential towers are being built with larger glass facades than ever before. While these glass structures look premium and allow plenty of natural light inside, they also trap enormous amounts of heat, increase glare, and significantly raise air conditioning costs. This is where architectural films come into the picture. It contributes to nearly 25% of revenues in the sun control segment. Instead of replacing the entire glass facade, which is extremely expensive, these transparent films are simply applied to the existing glass. They reduce solar heat, block harmful UV rays, improve occupant comfort, and enhance the building's energy efficiency. Certain variants also provide additional privacy, improve glass safety, and even offer decorative finishes for both residential and commercial interiors. As governments push for greener buildings, electricity costs continue to rise and businesses become more focused on reducing energy consumption. Architectural films are becoming an increasingly important part of modern construction as well as renovation projects. So whether it is a premium SUV on the road or a glass-clad corporate office in a metro city, the objective remains exactly the same. Protect the asset, improve energy efficiency, and enhance the user experience. That is precisely why sun control films continue to be Garware's largest and most important product category. Paint protection films contribute around 25% of revenue. PPF protects the exterior paint of vehicles from scratches, stone chips, bird droppings, road debris, and harsh weather. It also has self-healing properties, so small scratches disappear when heat is applied. That is why it is now widely used in luxury cars, premium SUVs, EVs, motorcycles, and fleets. The remaining roughly 25% comes from specialty BOPET films, which are used in flexible packaging, electrical insulation, consumer electronics, transformers, motors, cables, solar modules, and other industrial products. These films may be invisible to consumers, but they are essential to product performance and reliability. But Garware's next growth phase is being driven not by its product mix alone. The company has set out a very clear Capex plan that will further drive the business to grow. In FY26, the company doubled PPF capacity to 60 million square feet, with the new facility commissioned in Q2 FY26. This is important because PPF is one of the fastest growing premium automotive protection categories globally. The next major investment is a thermoplastic polyurethane TPU production line, which is scheduled for October 2026 with an investment of 118 crore rupees and an additional 360 lakh square feet of annual capacity. So what exactly is TPU? TPU is the key raw material for PPF. So this project is basically a backward integration move, and it will help improve the quality control, reduce dependency on external suppliers, and should support margins over time. Then comes the sun control film production line, scheduled for June 2028. The company is investing 192 crore rupees to add another 1200 lakh square feet of annual capacity. But the real story isn't the extra capacity, it's the better business economics. This investment is expected to push the contribution of value-added products beyond the current 87%, while improving EBITDA margins by around 140 to 360 basis points. In other words, Garware isn't just building a larger business, it's building a more profitable one. Now, having a fast-growing industry is one thing, but creating long-term shareholder value depends on something else entirely, a competitive advantage that is difficult to replicate. That is where Garware starts looking very different from most companies in the industry. So Garware's moat is not coming from size alone, it comes from something much rarer: control over the full chain and the years of know-how hidden inside it. In solar control films, Garware is the only company in the world with full backward integration. It does not just buy a base film and start coating it, it begins much deeper in the chain, polymerizing PTA and MEG into its own polyester chips at a 66,000 metric ton plant, then extruding its own base film from 10 to 350 microns, and then taking care of the entire finishing process in-house: dyeing, nano-dispersion coating, adhesives, metallizing, and lamination, all at one location. That matters because competitors have to buy intermediate products somewhere along the way, often at market prices, while Garware captures margin at every single step. And now with the TPU line coming in October 2026, it is extending the same logic into PPF as well. That kind of integration does one more important thing too. It protects margins when raw materials swing and when supply chains get disturbed, which is exactly the kind of resilience the company has already shown through COVID, the Russia conflict, and the recent US tariff shock. But the real edge is not just backward integration, it is the process technology. Garware's deep dye capability is the crown jewel here. Very few companies in the world, maybe only 2 or 3, can actually dye the polyester film itself rather than just coating the surface, which is why the color becomes permanent. The company also has a US patent history going back to the UV stabilized film of 1982, which tells you this is not a recent shortcut business. Management said something very telling. These sun control lines were built by their own team with very unique operations that nobody has in the world. And even if a brand customer wants to switch away, it is not easy because the base film, nano dispersion, and adhesive chemistry cannot simply be changed. That is a defining competitive edge, not just machines but decades of tacit process knowledge that capital alone cannot easily buy. The growth drivers are all structurally aligned with the company's portfolio. Premiumization in autos is a major one. Customers buying premium cars, SUVs, and EVs are much more willing to spend on protection. EV adoption is another because cabin heat reduction can improve battery efficiency, and EVs need advanced insulation materials in motors and battery systems. Automotive detailing is also becoming more organized, which supports PPF and premium window films through certified installers. Green buildings are another strong theme because commercial buildings consume a lot of electricity, especially for cooling. That is why architectural and window films are becoming more attractive. The window film market itself is also growing. It is expected to rise from $11.4 billion in 2024 to $19.7 billion by 2034 at a 5.6% CAGR, and sun control films already account for 38.6% of global demand. Electronics and electrical equipment are another long runway because transformers, motors, cables, and electronics all need insulation films. Renewable energy, premium packaging, exports, and tightening regulations around energy efficiency and sustainability all add more tailwinds. Now let's come to the financial side because this is where the story becomes even stronger. Garware delivered a 17% revenue CAGR over FY21 to FY26 and a 22% PAT CAGR over the same period. Interestingly, FY26 also highlighted the resilience of the business model. Garware delivered a revenue of 2120 crore, which only increased by around 11 crore from last year, largely because the company faced a significant challenge from 50% US tariffs. Despite this, Garware managed to expand its PAT margin to around 16%, higher than the previous year. That is an important sign of a very good quality business, Even when top-line growth is temporarily constrained, its product mix, splicing power, and operational efficiency can still drive stronger profitability. The business has also maintained strong return ratios because it operates as a premium specialty manufacturer rather than a commodity film player. One of the biggest strengths is the balance sheet. The company is debt-free and has a liquidity surplus of around 774 crore. Working capital days are around 28, which is efficient for a global manufacturing business, and approximately 75% of revenue comes from exports. The US contributes around 45% of revenue, domestic India around 23.5%, Europe about 12 to 13%, and the Middle East around 3 to 5%. Management's guidance makes the next phase look even more interesting. The company expects at least 2,500 crore of revenue in FY27 while maintaining profitability. EBITDA margin guidance is around 25 to 27%, which signals confidence in the product mix. Management expects the portfolio to stay around Sun Control 50%, PPF 25%, and industrial products 25%. Architectural films already represent around 25% of Sun Control film sales and are expected to move toward from 25 to 30% over time. That means the mix is gradually moving toward higher value products rather than chasing volume for the sake of volume growth. One of the most important strategic moves is the direct-to-consumer push through global application studios. Garware already has around 250 studios operational and plans to add another 50 by FY27. This channel currently contributes only 10% of revenue, but management expects it to rise to 25% initially and eventually around 35%. The attraction is clear. Management believes it can generate 25 to 30% higher margins than the traditional distributor model because Garware captures more of the value chain. That is a big deal because it turns the company from just a manufacturer into a branded consumer solutions business. Alongside that, Garware Home Solutions is expected to become a meaningful growth engine too, with a target of 200 crore revenue by FY28. PPF and exports are also pulling their weight. Management says the PPF business has grown around 28%, helped by vehicle premiumization and stronger automotive detailing demand. With TPU backward integration and the new capacity coming online, PPF should remain one of the company's fastest growing segments. Exports remain the biggest growth engine, and the company wants to deepen its presence in Europe and the Middle East. In the Middle East region, current sales of about $15 million are targeted to rise to $20 to $22 million, with management expecting 25 to 30% CAGR from the region. This matters because Garware is not depending on just one market. It is building growth across geographies, product categories, and channels at the same time. If we compare Garware with peers, the difference becomes obvious. Uflex has delivered 13% revenue CAGR and 9.8% EBITDA growth in the period highlighted. That is decent, but it is still a more moderate growth profile than Garware's 17% revenue CAGR. Polyplex is much weaker in the comparison. ROE fell from 25% to 1%, ROCE from 25% to 3%, and revenue declined from 887 crore to 801 crore. Jindal Poly is also muted, with revenue growth of only 8.52% and ROE around 4% over the last 3 years. Garware, by contrast, is showing a premium film business with stronger growth, better capital efficiency, and a more resilient profit profile. Of course, no business is risk-free. Raw material costs can move sharply because the company uses petrochemical inputs like PET, TPU, and specialty resins. Chinese competition can pressure pricing, especially in standard films. A slowdown in passenger vehicles or premium car sales can hit PPF and automotive window films. A slowdown in construction can affect architectural films. Currency fluctuations matter because nearly 75% of revenue comes from exports. New technologies like smart glass and electrochromic glazing could eventually create disruption. And regulation around tinting, environmental standards, import duties or certifications can change demand or costs. So when you step back, the thesis becomes simple. Specialty films are becoming more important because the world is moving toward premium products, better energy efficiency, and more advanced materials. Garware is well positioned for that shift because it has a diversified portfolio, strong technology, global distribution, certified installers, backward integration, and a balance sheet that is both debt-free and cash-rich. More importantly, the company is now entering its next phase of growth. It has announced nearly 500 crore rupees of Capex, primarily focused on expanding its high value-added businesses and increasing backward integration, which has the potential to improve both revenue capacity and long-term margins. At the same time, Garware is building its direct-to-consumer D2C business through its global application studios. As this channel scales, management expects it to generate meaningfully higher margins than the traditional distribution model, allowing the company to capture a larger share of the value chain. If the company continues to execute on these initiatives while benefiting from the long-term growth in specialty films, it has the ingredients to create substantial value for shareholders over the coming years. As always, execution will be the key factor to monitor. And yeah, investors, we also find these small cap and micro cap and SME opportunities at an early stage through our research services, Emerging Titans and Tiny Titans. Emerging Titans is mainly built for main board small and mid cap companies, while Tiny Titans focuses purely on SME listed stocks. Across both services, you will receive detailed research reports, entry and exit strategies, allocation guidance, and regular updates. So if you want to be a part of our research community, you can visit valueeducator.com or check the link in the description. We follow our sprint framework to discover such niche stocks with strong potential. So if you haven't subscribed to our services, please do check out the details. If you found this detailed breakdown useful, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below sprint if you like the detailed research. We will meet next Saturday with another video at 11 AM. Till then, please do share this video with your family, friends, and other investors so that they can get the detailed insights. And do check out my other detailed stock analysis videos on my YouTube channel. So see you all on next Saturday at 11 AM.